too cold. I thought I'd learned.
Hello, you all. Welcome to this new edition of Lectio Musica, the place for great lyrics, great music, and great meaning. My name is Guilain Prince. I'm a Franciscan friar from Canada. Love rock music for a long time, especially hard rock, metal, and prog. Once a week, I come back in my little office where I work during the day normally, and I listen to a new song. This is the case this week. We finish the new album of the band The Warning. The album is called Era, and we've been through the 13 song instrumental piece of that album. It has been done in two period, because the 6 first songs were published as a separate EP in the summer of 2021. The full album was published this year in 2022. So these videos were done in 2 series. The first was LM80. The last one is today's LM113. And so you have, if you want to do the whole album called Era, you will ask for Lectio Musica 81, 80, 82, 107 in that order. If you want to follow the order of the EP, simply follow LM80, 81, 82, and so on. Good? So tonight we finish 113, the album called Era. This video will have 3 parts. First part will be listening to a lyrics video of the song called Breathe. Second part, a short analysis of that song. And third part, it will be a wrap-up of the whole album, my opinion on the album. And I will give a certain number of stars for the album we've just listened to. Now, before doing this, these are the lyrics of the song. We'll jump into listening the lyrics video. Breathe is a 2-minute 49-second, if I'm not mistaken, video, 250, 2 minutes and 50. We'll listen to that. It seems to be a shorter song. I have no clue of how it will turn out. It is written as a bonus track. So a bonus track, it might be many things. It might be that it's out of topic. So we had it. It's a good song. We couldn't make it fit in the general impression of the album. But it makes us clear. It's an addition, a little plus for the fans. One more song. It means also that usually it's not the strongest song. That could be the case in fact. Or it could be during the time they were in the studio, they didn't plan to do a 13th song, but somebody got an inspiration. They work it out in a very short period of time, and they say, why not? Why not? There are many meanings could be hidden behind what is called a bonus track. Anyhow, we listen to the song immediately and look at the lyrics. 3, 2, 1.
The water's getting way too cold. I thought I'd learn to keep me warm, but it's reaching down my throat, and it's freezing all my bones still. I try to reach over the endless waves, can't call for help, so I'll just call my name. wants me close. And I beg myself to breathe, but there's nothing within reach now. Is it so wrong to want to be alright? Perfect in pain, it's the same all the
Yep. I understand why it's a bonus track. It's almost, I don't know, I don't want to sound disrespectful. It's not the case at all. Not the case at all. It's almost, I would call it almost what we call a demo. You just have one instrument keeping the beat and giving the chord progression, on which you have a beautiful melody. So, you already heard me saying that the real test for a song is an acoustic version. Of course, a rock song will give its best with the intended instruments, but if it's a great song, you just hear it like this, with a voice and a piano. The words and the melody, the chord progression, it has to work. This works. It works. No problem with that. The melody is beautiful. I'm pretty sure it's Paulina singing in there. Not that I don't think that Daniela is not able to sing like this, but the tone, the fragility again that we hear from her. The piano is a basic piano that we use to accompany someone. So it's not I wouldn't say it's a partition that is complex or professionally made for public presentation. It's not like that. It's really a basic. The person puts in the chords with stability, and they listen to that and they say, yeah, there's something in there in this very simple presentation. And I agree. It's an endearing song. It finishes the album and with a question mark, I guess, eh? Let's look at the lyrics of the song. The water's getting way too cold. I thought I'd learn to keep me warm. But it's reaching down my throat, and it's freezing all my bones still. Pretty simple words. We can understand that. Now, of course, like I will say a little bit later, is the person talking about an external situation. She is in water, cold water, and she's the warmth of her body is now leaving her. Hypothermia. The person is going down into close to sleeping, and then will fall into the death. In fact, slow death. Now it's reaching down my throat. Now the water is reaching down my throat. So the water is entering. So it's the same theme as choke. Exactly the same thing. So, like I said in choke, it doesn't make sense to me if you take it literally. It's really something happening inside the person. The person is in an environment that is cold and is not able to bring back the life, the passion into that cold environment. And now the impression that the singer has is that the cold from outside now is entering the body, entering the lungs. So going towards the lungs. So it's about to completely submerge me. This is the feeling I get. And the atmosphere, the melody is it's really, it depicts that perfectly. I try to reach over the endless waves, can't call for help, so I'll just call my name. But not even I can hear. I'll just disappear without a trace. You see? So even I cannot, and so even whether it's the deepest part of myself or the external part of myself, the little conscience I have at this moment feels completely alone and feels that even myself cannot answer to that call of life. So the disappearance of the I, of the person without a trace. Is it so wrong? Wrong. I want to be all right. Perfect in pain. It's the same all the time. Now there are two things I could see here. Like in choke, in pain, there's a way out to life. So, in pain, perfect in pain, I want that pain to stop or to be overcome. And the numbness there is in cold water makes me think that it's more, the idea is I would like the pain to stop. My pain is so strong. Is it wrong to want to be all right? So there is the temptation here of self-annihilation, whether physical or metaphorical. There is this idea that I want pain to stop. And the song, with its melody, the final chorus, represents that so well. So well. There is despair in that song, you know. I try my very best to stay afloat, but there's something down there that just wants me close. And I beg myself to breathe, and there's nothing without reach now. Again, these two possibilities. There's something down there deep inside that wants me close. So I'm being called downward. Okay? So the image of drowning here again that we found in choke. I have tried my very best to stay afloat, but I'm feeling called downward. I beg myself to breathe, but there's nothing within reach. There's nothing within reach to grab so that I can still breathe. Or there's nothing, how can you beg yourself to breathe? And in the previous previous verse, even when I call, can hear. So all of this is really slow, this self-dissolution, self-disappearance. And apparently without any solution. So is it so wrong wanting to end it all when you suffer that much, you know? That's a good question, you know. It's a very good question. So musically, the structure is very simple. You have a small intro with the piano, a little bit of a small instrumental break, before the, is it before the, I think it's right here, the small instrumental break. So there are two verses, one chorus, I think a small instrumental break, then a verse and a chorus. And that's the simplest of the structure of any song of the Warning I've listened to. In terms of music, it's the simplest as well. These young women are extremely good at playing their instruments. Bass guitar, guitar, and drums. They are fantastic. Now they play an instrument they do not master at the same level. It's like chord strumming on guitar. It can do the trick. It can be very good, very nice to hear, but it's very simple playing. So it's as simplest as well with an instrument, the piano, that they do not master as their own, okay? Each their own. But at the same time, it's on purpose. It makes sense. It adds to the impression of fatality and fragility. This is what you get from this thing. It's fatality, okay? And the voice over the singing voice, it's really fragility. I would say despair. There's a plea in the melody and in the voice. The person is asking, like a last attempt to say something before disappearing. Very strong. Now, the lyrics. The character is talking to herself, to myself, in solitude. Is it an outside solitude, an external situation, or it's all happening inside? It could be both. The song is not all that clear on this. Choke, I think, is clearer for that. It's inside. But this song could be both. The person wants to be well. So there's a fascination with self-disappearance. Is it nothingness? Or is it happiness that is expected as a result of this situation? What is it that the character wish for? We are not sure. But one thing is sure. The end of perfect pain. Yeah. The end of perfect pain. So is it the end, the song, in terms of meaning? Is it the end? If you are about to drown, breathe, the title of the song, is letting the water in. It is the beginning of the end. The human body becomes water, goes back to water and water. So this is the equivalent of death. Okay? Or is the song the beginning? Because if the choke here is metaphorical, like in choke, then the breathing might be also. Which means accepting to go as deep as possible before finding a new freedom. Like in the video, the person accepts to go down, and then she flies literally in the water. She's free, completely free, and we don't see the pain. We don't see the distress in the video of Choke at all. I think that could be the same case here, but I cannot assume it is, but it would make sense as well for me. So going deep within ourselves to come out anew and alive. But there is something to lose on the way, and maybe illusions, maybe false understanding of self and of the world. This ambiguity that we have in that song is typically part of the warning. This is the warning signature. Really, we see that so many times in the past 2 years. This is part of their signature. And this is why, to me, this very ambiguity, this situation where you're not sure entirely of what it means, but at the same time you get something out of it. This is what makes those songs and the warnings unforgettable. They are great songwriters, and to me they are real artists. They are real artists. They are not just rock and roll stars or musicians. And for me, there is something deeply artistic in what they do, and I respect that tremendously. And like I will say, they are unique. I don't see anybody like this in the present world, in the present modern world of music. And to be unique, to be frank, in that world, and not to be a carbon copy of the drum patterns that somebody else already played somewhere, and the bass lines that somebody else played somewhere, and the chord progression and the piano play that you have in MIDI files. We've heard that. It's so not interesting. The warning, they are completely, they are the opposite of this. This is remarkably unique at all levels. Now, you know me. Let's go now into the review of the whole album. You have there the criteria I use when I do the evaluation of albums. I am quite demanding, because there are parts that you will have in those criteria that you won't see anybody else talk about. Music, lyrics, you will see that, but prosody, I wrote songs about between 40 and 50, I don't remember. And this is one of my forte, the capacity to bring together lyrics and music. And this is very important to me. And this is an art that I appreciate, the coherence between the music and the lyrics is a unique gift that you will find only on certain people. This is the warning, like I will say, are a 9 out of 10. They are out of the ordinary. Now, after that, what is the quality of the musicians and the singers on the album? What are they as musicians, as interpreter? Now, the meaning is something that nobody gives any attention to that most of the time. I give a big 20 points to the meaning of this. And for me, and I will listen again and again, an album that has meaning, like they do. In production, sometimes people forget that all of this could be great, but the record sounds like crap. Has not been produced well. I give it 10 points on this. So you have here, I make a note on and I transfer it into stars. Now, here it is. In terms of music, what do I think of that album The album is called Era. Musically, by the guitar effect, The Warning is strongly influenced by the 1990s and to beginning 2000s rock. We call it, I wrote it with a C, punk, grunge, a little bit of hard rock and metal, but it's a unique blend. It's unique. The structure of the songs are from mainstream to mildly complex structures. Sometimes signatures are a little bit different. The riff, the structure of the songs sometimes are a little bit out of the ordinary. So they are mainstream structures and mildly complex, not very complex stuff. Still, there is musical research in what they do, enough to make their music interesting to the musicians. I found always interest in everything they do. There is something in the music, there is something in the bass riff, in the structure of the song. There's always something to grasp my attention. This is a sign of great musicianship. They are able to create something structurally simple, but with a lot of creativity and a lot of ideas. That is fantastic. Now, I have to say that this band is clearly what sets them apart are the quality of the riffs. They only have mainly two instruments, the bass guitar and the guitars. And the riffs they make they are remarkable. I would say that 80% of their songs, there's something that will grasp your attention, that will make you say, oh yeah, well, that's good. That's interesting, okay? But all of this has a strong foundation that I call exceptional drumming. Paulina is not just a good drummer. She is about to become an exceptional drummer. Among the female drummers, I would say that I know maybe one or two great jazz drummers and maybe one metal drummer in a Polish woman, Beata. But apart from these, I don't see other female drummer of that level. And even among the male, she has her style, she has her personality, and I think it's a drum-driven band, and it makes it so energetic. And I would say the drum and the passion that you find in Daniela are the two main characteristics at this moment. There's energy, emotion, strength, variety. For a young trio, it's quite remarkable. You know, I don't know how you composed songs at 20, 23, or 17, but everything, in my case, was pretty much the same. It was the same topics, it was the same melodies, some melodic lines. Their research, the capacity to add changes, variety is exceptional, phenomenal. So that won't surprise you when we will talk about the musicians, that I find them unbelievable. Now, the lyrics, as I understood with your reaction, I understood that Paulina is probably the main driven force behind the topics and the lyrics, but all contributes. This is what I understand, is that they can modify. They would sometimes have one paragraph and they will work with that, and then they will add together new lyrics. But the force behind the lyrics seems to be Paulina. The topics are of their generation, but the treatment of those topics is way beyond their age. I am amazed by that. The deepness, here I wrote the deepness and the originality of their perspective makes them completely apart in the present market of music. Sometimes I listen to pop music, both in French and in English. I listen to a little bit of rhythm and blues. I listen to a bit also of hip hop, and I find them really interesting. They are in a category for that, quite by themselves. They are both precise and evocative. Their words are not complicated, but sometimes their emotions are complicated. The topics are complicated, but the words are not complicated. And it's a rare gift to do real poetry in simple words. But this is not simplistic. They are genuinely deep in their vision perspective. So, in the present musical world, of course, it's not my main field. I listen quite a lot of music, but it's not my work, for example. But according to what I hear, the warning to me is unique. Tell me down here if you see any comparison, the simplicity of the vocabulary with the deepness of the thought and the perspective. And like we will say, there's a critical stance of the warning towards the modern world, and at the same time they do it in a way that is fantastic, unique again. Now, in terms of prosody, the art of combining lyrics with music, I find them extremely precise. Everything is understandable music-wise. I can see, I can decode why they did this, why they did that, why they made that choice. I wouldn't have made the choice the same way for the same thing, but I can see why they do it. And this is a great quality of the warning. I suspect them to really transpose into music what they understand of their own lyrics, which means that basically I'm pretty sure they get the topics and the lyrics first, and they make it into music. They transfer it into music. That's why it's so deeply linked. It's at their age. It is already an accomplishment. It's very rare to see that. So this means that there's a deep coherence between lyrics and music, and the emotion is completely conveyed in the most effective way, both by the music and the lyrics, and the emotion is transferred to the listener. The exact emotion is transferred to the listener. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And this brings us to the quality of the interpretation of the band. The musicians themselves are first class. So, and they can only grow from now. They are already fantastic. I can't wait to see where they're heading to. The Warning is a band to follow in the coming years. I will certainly follow them. There's no doubt in my mind that every now and then I will check if there's new material from The Warning, new videos or whatever. And the one reason why I didn't give them as musicians a 10 out of 10 is that I know that they can still grow. But their 8 is above the 10 of the best of a lot of people, even great classic musicians. They have worked very hard to be at that level at that age. Remarkable. Second, as vocalist, Daniela is phenomenal. Her voice, her whole body gives shape to the emotions and the meaning of the songs, the power of the songs. She is the embodiment, the human embodiment of what the song conveys. As a front woman, she is exceptional, excellent. Now, if she carries 80% of the lead voice partitions, we should not underestimate Paulina as an excellent lead singer as well. I think that she has her own set of emotions that she brings. She really brings something to the songs that is different from Daniela. And you know something? I would not be surprised if one day they choose to have like for example Genesis, when they were 3, they asked someone to come and do the drum partitions of Phil Collins, so that he can sometimes, or most of the time in fact, sing as a lead vocalist. If one song over 5 or half the songs one day Paulina sings, at one point she might be a good front woman, I think. She has the energy, she has the personality, flamboyant personality. You can see that in every Warning interview. And she does embody something different from Daniela. And I think once in a while it will be a wonderful addition to have Paulina to be a front woman and a lead singer. And maybe that means that she plays a simple percussions, or there's someone in there replacing her in bigger venues, so that she can sing fully in the front. But even the only problem I have is all the live videos I've heard of her. For now, the microphone that she has doesn't give the same quality as a microphone on a stand. It's not the same quality, so her voice doesn't come out as beautiful as it is in fact, as it is in studio, for example, when she does only this. But yeah, as vocalist, this band is more than above average. This being said, the backing vocals by siblings, by sisters in this case, when Alejandra enters with Paulina, the blend of their voice it cannot be matched by good friends. It could be very good, but these people, they know each other for ages. They know how to breathe. They know how to place their voice in front or beside the others forever. And this is what we hear in that album. So at this level here, the quality of the musicians and the singers of The Warning, I cannot have a higher opinion of them. Now, in terms of the meaning of the album explores many parts of the human psyche, and I like that very much. Personally, I like this. With its contradictions, its ambiguities, the gray zones that we all experience right now, So there's a critical, like I said, there's a critical stance in front of the modern world without preaching. Okay, they are not preaching. And I think the people appreciate that. But still, they are able to make their point very convincingly. Sometimes when they talk, I think spontaneity of disciple, of error, of many cool kids, I think that the point is very clear. For me, it's a real work of musical that the Warning did with Era. Now, in terms of production now, I said it, mainly inspired by the 90s and 2000 sound in terms of guitar effects. They produce a unique and contemporary sound out of Daniela's guitars. The quality, the choices of the tones of the effects are A++. Everything is on point. I don't remember ever hearing a guitar effect and saying, nah, nope. Every time I said, oh, wow, yes. Good taste, whether from Daniela, production team, I don't know, all of the above, A+. The bass tone and the drums, the tone of the bass and the drums are less identifiable to a certain period in terms of influence, time period. But for me, it's not a fault at all. They are more timeless. They are above time periods in a way. Sometimes her bass sounds a little bit like a fretless from the 80s, 90s. But it's not a fretless, but it has the same quality of a fretless. And the quality of the recording. I know how difficult it is to record a good drum. I think it's the best recording of a drum I've heard in the past 20 years. I love everything. Not only the drum sounds great, but it's recorded great. It's absolutely perfect. All the richness of the drums, everything is there. The power, the precision, the quality, the choice of the tone of every drums, the cymbals. It's phenomenal. This is, for me, in terms of the production, the very best part of this album. The drums are fantastic. And the guitars are fantastic. And the bass is exceptional. So, this is great production. This is absolutely great production. At the same level as the Warning are, these women are at that level. The production is of the same level. To me, the only fault is that there are one or two songs that I find a little bit weaker. And I think that a 10-song album would have been sufficient to be a little bit more effective, striking, to attain the goal of touching on every track. This being said, there's another vision that 13, it's generous and it's good. All the 13 songs, they have something to say. All the 13 songs. So, why not? Why not? They chose it. Even the very best classic albums that you can think of. There's one song that is more or less, That's the way it is. There's no problem in that. Personally, in terms of production, I would have suggested 10 songs. But it makes sense like this. Excellent production, capture of all instruments, the mixing perfect. I love the taste in the mixing, the blend. We hear everything clearly, beautifully, and it is constant. The only exception to that would be Breathe. That is a little bit simpler in terms of we say captation in French, the capture of the sound. It is not worked refined like the others, but it has, there's a reason behind that. So I would have given the album a 4.5. So for me, this album is a strong 4.5. It's not a weak that's a strong 4 stars. The only reason I didn't give a 4.5 is because I know that they will grow, and I want to have a little bit of space to say that's better. That's better. I want a little bit of, but therefore 4 stars is way beyond many others that are 3, 3.5, or even 4 stars. Therefore is a strong one, leaning towards 4.5. In my heart, my mind, I will listen to that album a lot in the coming month. Dear friend, I have a news for you. My next video will be in September 2023. Yep. I've worked very hard in the fall to come up with these videos every week, but I was not able to keep the pace. The reason why is very simple. I'm in final year of a doctoral thesis. I'm writing a lot. It takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of thoughts, and basically my mind is really on my thesis all the time. And for me, it was extremely difficult to come and do these videos here, even if I absolutely love it. I am certain I'll come back. For me, don't worry about me. I'll be back, maybe in August, maybe in September. I will continue, and for many years. I'm not leaving. I'm not changing this. I love to do this. It's just that now I have to focus on the redaction of my doctoral thesis. I'll be back in September. Don't worry. The formula will be the same. You will recognize everything in what I've said, what I've done. As for me, this fall with these albums, Deep Dark Passion Play, and The Warning, has been a blast. I absolutely love taking the time to listen to these artists, wonderful artists, in the past 3 months and a half. And they were 2 great albums that I love dearly. So for now, I say a nice bye-bye. See you in September 2023.